Stephen, you're very welcome.
Thanks a million. Thanks for having me.
I decided we should try and talk to you after your man of the match performance against Clare. I said, I thought he was finished. I thought this guy was done, thinking about retirement over the winter, and then boom, extraordinary start of the championship. So, my memory of 2024 for you is playing a few games, but getting taken off in games, and people know about your hip situation and your problems and your injuries. And I thought, this guy's winding down.
Hmm. Yeah, I suppose some of the days I probably thought I was going all right to be taken off. I think it was just because I didn't probably have the training done. It was probably hard to do it. But in fairness to Peter, like and the management this year, I wouldn't have played at all only for him. And they trusted me to. I know I played some league games, which helped. But sure I missed loads of the training. But then it wasn't even that. I got back and I got a good few weeks running on my own, and like straight line stuff is okay. As soon as you go in tackling, twisting, turning is the issue. So you can actually get yourself relatively fit. Running up and down straight line. That was boring, but you can do it. We had a few fellas that were injured as well at the start of the year, so it does help when you've got fellas with you. January and it raining, and you're just running up and down the sideline watching lads hurling. But yeah,
Says good.
yeah, it does. But for luck. Then when the matches started coming in, it was just this year. I suppose the one thing I've done was I played on the Sunday, then I skipped the Tuesday. So the issue is you're instead of training like I have been the last probably 11 years, you're crippled for 2, 3, 4 days, but then you're training on it, and then by Friday you're still not recovered, and then the weekend you're feeling bad. I think we did it against Antrim this year. I trained hard on the Tuesday. I was only back in with a week or two maybe with the team, and trained hard on the Tuesday, trained Friday, and couldn't run against Antrim. It was terrible. I know it was my first match back, but it was terrible, and I was just thinking like we're getting this wrong. But then we kind of switched it up to keep the hard session for the match, if you get me. So taper your training Tuesday, train Friday, be light enough, anyway, for the matches, and then go as hard as you can for the match. And like I was finding that I was running way more and covering way more. So it was just to kind of be smart about it. But again, it involved a load of trust. Like the physio, Michael Sullivan, only for him, I wouldn't have a hope for him. He's phenomenal. The work he'll be doing, you'll be getting physio 4 or 5 nights a week. The rehab he'll be doing, and like he's excellent. He was over in Man City and all, working on fellas worth a lot more money than us. So like he's really good, and I suppose the management trusted him as well. Like it's frustrating at times saying, is this fella ever going to be playing? We can't look at him. And it's the same for the other 10 injured lads. But in fairness, this year they did really listen to Sully, and you'd see like we hadn't many injuries. I think we'd only one injury throughout the whole championship. Early Daly got hurt after the third game, and we hadn't a load. We'd one or two, Peter Hogan I was, but we were really lucky with injuries.
Yeah. So, and what's the physio like? Is he's working on you then when you've done your straight line running and you've done your bits? He's massaging, stretching, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, elbows into the hips and glutes and back and everywhere. But it's a lot of kind of rehab as well, and try and strengthen up the muscles around the hips to take a bit of pressure off them. And there's loads in it. But I suppose the problem is it was just hips. I was lucky enough with hamstrings and that kind of thing. But the last couple of years, like toward the hamstring, and then your back starts at you, and then your right hamstring. But like it's all coming from your hip. I could even deal with the hip pain. It was everything else was nearly stopping you. So you're kind of working on everything. To be honest with you, I'd say I'm an absolute disaster to be dealing with him, but he's exceptional.
He is repetitive injury strain from working on you all year, I'd say.
Yeah, yeah.
So I remember we talked about this before a couple of years ago, and I remember asking you 4 hip operations, two on each side before the age of 20 is very, very unusual. And I remember asking you if there was a root cause, was it overtraining? And I do remember you saying you did a lot of stuff, so it could have been that, but you didn't really know. Have you ever got to the bottom of why this has been such an issue for you?
No, not a clue. I suppose I can only probably put it down because the lads are perfect. There is nothing wrong with them. So it's not like it's hereditary or anything or in the family. Like so, I just think maybe playing too much, too young. Like I remember playing. You probably don't do it anymore, but you'd be 10 and you'd be playing under 10s, 12s, 14s, and you'd be in school playing 14s, 16s. I think like Harty in second year. Like I think I played Harty in second year and then missed the last 2 years of Harty because I was after hip operations. So like I think she's got everything wrong. Playing soccer and playing badminton and golf and I think cricket at times and different things, just anything you could see. So probably like when I had the problems, like at 15, I was in with the minors. And I suppose I just wanted to play, like, I never really cared, and we didn't really know either. I think if it happened now, you'd be got way earlier, whereas I didn't really know about it, so it'd be frustrating kind of. So it was just kind of playing, ignore it until I wasn't able to. So yeah, I suppose if it happened kind of 10 years later, like, I think, say, if I had this physio now, if Sully worked with me since I was 15, like, I think I could have got another 20 years out of me.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just, I suppose, everything. That's why you'd be kind of hoping not to prolong it, because you know that, like, you're on a bit earlier, they get so better. Medicine gets so much better that you'd be hoping to but they'll find something you'd hate to jump into something now and then regret it.
Yeah, of
So yeah.
course, yeah. And I was reading, just like to really make it nice, that like osteoarthritis has set in now. So I don't know, like when you empty yourself in a match, we'll come to the Clare game and come to the summer in a moment. So when you give it socks against Clare and empty yourself, and you say I'm crippled then for the next few days, what are we talking about?
Like, it'd be bad, like limping around or not putting on the socks, or like, to be sore. Like, I wouldn't be able to, like, the matches now, the week off probably killed me. Last year I was luckier. We 2 weeks, just the way it worked this year with a bye the first round. So, like, the week in between, like, say, I think we had 6 days between Clare and Limerick. Like, Thursday I was there thinking, not a prayer I can play. You're taking painkillers then, or you're probably doing a lot of things that you shouldn't, but, like,
Yeah.
Painkillers for 4 weeks straight and go there. Different things. So it's just kind of, but that's the same for everyone. Like, there's always fellas. We'd lads tore their shoulder and tore different things in the middle championship, but it's just a case of injection and painkillers and play again.
Yeah. So when you say socks, you wake up on the Monday morning and it's like just
Lifting the leg
pain.
up to, yeah, bending down or twisting or just pain, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
there's very little to no cartilage left and arthritis, but the right one, then it's the ball and socket. The ball is out of the socket, so it's not like sitting in it. So that's what's causing loads of trouble then with everything else. So yeah, it does. It's actually the second day is the worst. I always said it. The first day I can manage. It's the second day is always the worst one.
Yeah.
But that's always the Tuesday then, and you'll be for years. Then you'll be going away training, like you can warm up, and after, like, the warm up is always the worst thing. Is to get started. You'll be doing about 45 minutes before you even start doing it. But if you just started running now, that's what you find when you go to the club and you kind of stop. It's not as professional. And you're just straight out training. You're like, my God, how was I playing 2 weeks ago? I feel absolutely terrible. But it's just you need to do everything so much kind of just extra to get going. But once the matches start, you're actually okay.
Um, why keep going? Why keep doing this? That is rotten. And living with chronic pain is no joke. Like, you're a teacher. Might talk about like what life away from hurling as well. You're a teacher. You're trying to live your life. Go to the cinema. Be kind of present with people, as opposed to be almost in slightly bad humor because you've got this thing nipping at you. Pain is a real thing to live with. That's a big sacrifice to sign up for. Why do you keep doing this?
I don't know. Sure, there's loads of reasons. I love it. Like, I love playing the matches. It's sure. I suppose I went in at 18 as well, so I've played 12 years of it. So it's all I've ever done, really. And I know I've loads. Like, I'm actually after moving schools here since January. I'm the principal of a small school here in Cork. So there's tough going coming in here now with all the. I was hanging Cork flags up in my school yesterday. Would you believe? I'm bunting and all around the school now. But no, like, it's lovely. But yeah, it is a lot. But, like, I suppose it's probably worse for Melanie at home listening to me for the 6 months. It's not, because all you think about is that, and then you finish, and they're kind of like, "Geez, what do I do with my time now again?"
Yeah.
Like, you've so much time in the evenings, then you don't know what you're doing for a few weeks. I still don't. You are kind of in a bubble, and you're just thinking of that, and you're just thinking of the next training and how. But you can come across at times, like, not grumpy, I suppose, in bad form at training or in bad, and I'm like, you'd be totally different at home, but it's just you're constantly thinking, how am I getting through this session, or how am I getting through this session? But it's all to just get to play the matches in championship, And I suppose anyone that playing thinks they're good enough and thinks the team are good enough, and you'd never be convinced that. I suppose the day I always said when I had myself, I'm not able for it. But then I'm like, when you still believe you can win something, it's hard to just say I'll stop, because it's like you're going to stop with everything. Then the club will stop, and it's not as if I'm going to go and play another 10 years with the club or anything. It's kind of when it stops, I'm finished sport, and so, like, I might maybe get a year or two, but it won't be It'll be tipping away playing matches. It won't be
Yeah.
training as such anymore, in the high level kind of. So I suppose it's just to see how I can go as long as I can.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. And how are you? Like, are you grumpy when you're in pain for the week?
No, I'm not. I'm actually very good at it. People
Right.
probably think I am, but no. I'd always say to physio, like, you've normal pain and then you've like bad pain. Like normal pain is you just have it with 15 since I'm about 15. That's not you're used to it. That's not an issue. Like, it's actually kind of you get really good at dealing with it. But it's like it's the after the matches or like
Yeah.
turning, twisting is when it's really sore. It's actually sitting for too long, or else if you're standing for too long, it's you kind of need to keep moving. So that's why they're like, why don't you stop? Like I was stopped last year. I think I said it to Melanie the other day. I'm finished, and she was like, "Yeah, you told me that since 2019, every year."
Mhm.
I actually remember meeting Pádraig Fanning in 2019 saying I was finished.
Right.
We got to the final year after with Liam Cahill when he came in. But I suppose it's always last year, like I was like, not a hope, I'm not coming back, no way.
Right.
And then you take months and you stop running and you stop training, and then you can't push through it. Not you can't, but I don't, because it's hard to just go push yourself in the off season when you're like, hang on now, I'm here on my own, and why am I doing this? This is causing me pain. There's no point. But then when you go back in, so I was like, I'm not able for this. But then you get back into the team, then you start racing lads again, and you start trying to beat lads, and it kind of takes your head off. But you nearly feel, it sounds funny, but you'd feel better. You're getting 4 physios a week. You're training properly. You're stretching. You're doing all the right things.
Mm.
You nearly feel better. Not obviously the 2 or 3 days after matches, but you feel better in general than you would when you're at home, because then you stop doing things. You get, you don't do as much. You get stiffer. You get sorer. So
Yeah.
it's nearly a case of it's easier to play.
No, I get you. Those boring prehab things that you have to do are pretty hard to do on a Tuesday in December when you've nothing to stretch for. I get it.
That's the
I get
thing.
it.
Yeah, it's like, and you'll be thinking, you'll be already dinner, like, what am I going to train for now? Whereas at least when you're with her, you're
Yeah.
always trying to do something, improve something. You're looking at other teams, you're looking at everything. You're always kind of occupied.
Yeah. God, it's amazing you can hit the level you hit this summer though. Like you were really good this summer, to be fair. Really, really good. Um I like it must be sorry, I keep asking the negative questions. You're looking at the downside. Like it's great what you're doing. It's amazing. But it must be hard not to fantasize about where you could be. Like I read about you as an underage player, and people who saw you say you were phenomenal. The goals you scored at underage level, in just the sheer numbers of them, were off the charts. You must the odd time think, God, imagine I was pain free and I could actually train 6 days a week, 100%, fit as a fiddle, and go out there into a Munster Championship cauldron. What would I be? You can't think that way and you can't dwell on that, but it must cross your mind at times when the going's tough.
Yeah, it used to. Because I got a lot more mature and kind of used to it. Like I think I played 5 years senior championship and I scored 7 points. Like it took me till my last match in my 6th year to get my first ever goal. Like, I always tell fellas that are like, how's this fella not playing or this lad? And they're flying. I'm like, it takes a few years. Not everyone just goes straight away. I had all the operations when I came in, so like I was a few years at nothing, like but
Mm.
I was playing a good bit of championship matches and wasn't scoring, wasn't. But I suppose you can look at it that way, or you can look at it like, I suppose I've changed. I used to just be full forward, and it used to be just hit the ball in as often as you can. And then it kind of changed, and I suppose I wasn't suited to the way we were playing for a while. So I was in and out of the team kind of. It was about covering the ground inside and having fellas back and all. But like you kind of, your head changed. I changed into with the club. I go out to centre forward. Then I started playing around midfield, and so that's when I think we kind of 2020 with Liam Cahill, I started playing out the field, wing forward, centre forward, and getting on more ball. And you're not just stuck in the corner waiting. So I suppose my game has kind of changed from it as well. So obviously you think that I'm like, geez, imagine if I could train like Kieran, say, my brother.
Yeah.
I always said if I could run like him, I just would be unbelievable. But like, um, I also think that I've kind of changed to suit it, and you can kind of get smarter. You look at some lads, like the best hurlers that ever played, and they weren't running the most, like, they were just the smartest hurlers. Like Noel McGrath or like Joe Canning or them. They're just smarter up stairs, like, their head is just quicker, they think quicker, so I think it's both. I think it helps, and it also obviously it doesn't, like.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah. And so the medical profession, are they, anytime you get a scan or go and see them, are they saying, what are you doing? retire, this is madness? Or is there a degree of, listen, we're probably talking replacements down the line, so this is credit in the bank, you might as well use it till you can't. What's their advice?
Yeah, I was saying that. I think I said it before that I was told. What's he put it to me? I had 10,000 euro left, and when every time I run, that's been gone, and that's been spent. And when that's gone, you're getting hip replacements. But
Right.
that was November 22. So I think I've 3 years played since. But it's kind of, in fairness, the fella I go to, like he understands the medical side, but he also understands like you want to play here. How can we get you to play? And that's what I'm probably stubborn enough to be like, I'm playing if I can. How can we work it?
Mm.
Um, and like he's excellent. So yeah, every year I suppose, like I didn't go for anything really for years because I knew it would eventually catch up to me. And then what was it? 3 years ago, I said there's something really not right now. And that's when I kind of found out all this. But I suppose then every year you're going one more year, and you're just like, So look, I don't know what I'm doing. Not even thinking about it now. I know we're playing Middleton's second team in a practice match on Saturday with the
Okay.
club, and that's what I go at now for a while.
Spend some of that
Um,
10,000 euro there. How much money's left in the bank?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm actually going back centre back for the club, would you believe? So we'll see how that goes. It might last one match now.
Yeah.
But no, we'll just. I don't know. I haven't a clue. It's hard. Like some days you'd be thinking, nah, not a hope. You'd give up it all. And other days you'd be thinking, might you go again? I really don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Um, I'm busier now. We're getting married there in about 2 months, and I was off to weekends buying suits and different things, and just I'm actually going golfing there to weekend first time this year. You just do different things and kind of settle down a bit. I suppose there's always so much on. When you're at Waterford and I'm about an hour and 20 minutes away, an hour and a half. So it's like you're always driving the train, driving home. You're at meetings. You're busy. With everything, and then you're kind of like just relax now for a little while. You don't have to be
Yeah.
always going.
Yeah. Sure.
Even though I think a lot of fellas that are used to it, you kind of work better when it's nearly manic. We're not really used to having time off thinking, but no, it's good. Just kind of take a breather now for a while.
You said something very interesting. I was reading that when you were thinking of packing it in over the winter, that Peter Queally, Waterford manager, said something to you, and you said, "I'm not revealing it until I retire, but it probably convinced me to go back." Can you give us half a revelation of what he said to you?
Like it wasn't. I think that was even taken a bit more than even I meant it. Like
Right. Okay.
he just talked to me and just said good things and what he thought of me and kind of why he wanted me to stay. And it just kind of was like, oh look, this fella's serious. He's going to, like, he's really good. He's the right fella in charge. He's
Mm.
excellent. He's pure Waterford man. He really means everything he says. He'd do anything for the players. So I kind of just said like I'd love to play with the management, like playing with Dan and Owen and all them lads in training is unreal. I'd do it for another 10 years if I could.
Yeah.
But then I suppose it gets frustrating when you're watching lads hurling and you're not able to do it.
Yeah.
But then you kind of feel guilty as well that you're like, I'm playing here now and there's lad training since October and you're coming in taking this position. And I remember being younger and thinking some lads that were not skipping trainings, but had to step out of different things. You'd be cracking up thinking, this fella's still playing like, and then you turn into that person and you're like, I'd hate me. So you feel guilty as well. So it's just a fine balance. But then I suppose if you're helping the team, you're kind of thinking it's a fine line. It's kind of hard. You go days where you think it's good and days thinking, geez, would you not leave some of the other lads play?
Well,
Like,
I do, but that brings us to this summer. So I wanted to set the context for this summer. Opening day, the round robin stages have not been kind to Waterford, unfortunately. Still haven't made it through, which is hard to believe. Really, they've been going since 2018. But Waterford's opening match is against Clare. It's at Walsh Park, the All Ireland champions. For you, it's your 100th game for Waterford. So even to reach that milestone, given everything, is impressive. 100 game for Waterford. You score 2-8. You're man of the match. Waterford beat the All Ireland champions. Pretty much 40 goals for Waterford. You're closing in on 600 points, 2-8 that day. And across the summer, you scored 433 over the 4 matches. So you're averaging 11 points per game. So you more than held up your end of the bargain. How good does that feel, given everything? I know the subsequent match is disappointing, but in real time, full time whistle at Walsh Park against Clare, your hips are probably on fire, and you're doing a man of the match interview and you've won. Because I was watching at home, I said we should talk to this guy because that must have just been such a sweet, intense moment for you.
yeah, it's unreal. I said it, I think, in the intro afterwards. Like, that's why you do it. It's just I suppose the relief and the happiness when you get the wins. I'm like, I know the record sounds terrible, but in between the round robin, you were in All Ireland finals, Munster finals, semi-finals. Like last year, we were a 65 away from 4 points up against Tip through the way after 30 seconds to go. If Limerick had beaten Cork, remember they got a penalty there at the
Yeah.
end, or if we didn't leave in that last point against Clare. I know it's all ifs and buts, but I'm saying there was
No
three
margins.
things that like you're talking. We dropped one ball. If we caught one ball, we were through and Cork were gone. Do you know, it's so close. So I suppose that's why then when you're thinking of not going back, you're like, it's so close. It's not as if, you lose now by 4 or 5 points and they're like, oh, you don't, but like you're in the game for so long. It's not as if, you don't, a few things don't go right. But yeah, it's like, I don't know, do you ever play golf and you're terrible and you say it's the worst game ever and then you hit a good shot and you're like, ah, yeah, I'm unreal, I'm going to set it again. Do you know, it's like, it's worth it for the you'll always think. I think no one plays hurling or football and doesn't believe they're good enough to win it.
Mm.
Like we had a good win against Clare. Limerick, we weren't terrible. We bad wides, but obviously that's the pressure that they put on us. They were good. Lost by 5 or 6, was it?
Seven, I think, but yeah, six,
Yeah,
six, six,
28,
six.
22, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was.
like
Yeah.
they were better on the night. We were 6 days after. We just weren't we weren't bad now. If they were excellent. We bad shooting. I think we were 50-something% shooting. Just from the pressure they're putting on, obviously as well. But like we were still in a good place. If we beat Tip, we were qualified with a game in hand,
Yeah.
and you had a pre-shot of the semi-final of Munster. But we started off brilliant against Tip. Then they took over. Then we got 6 points in a row, and I thought, right, we're back now. And then they just took over for the last 10 minutes, and it was that simple. And they're like, "Geez, Waterford are useless again." And
Yeah.
I'm like, "No, you're 10 minutes away from being qualified with a game in hand." So like, no complaints. Tip were better us on the day overall. But like, you'd still fancy if you were still in it. You'd be like, we'd still be able to beat this team or this team, or But that's just the joys of it. We weren't good enough. We didn't get through.
Yeah. Are you in pain when you're scoring 2-8 against Clare and having a rip roaring
No,
second
you
half? You're feeling good, adrenaline, all that stuff.
No, you don't think about it. You're
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
No, once you get going, it's the best you'll feel. It's like because you're loosened out, you're activated, you're like you can play. But like that Clare game, I played a good second half. I was poor in the first half.
Yeah.
Like we played with the wind. There was a lot of us. We could have taken off 6 of us. We were actually only 2 or 3 points up. Missed a load. It was a wicked strong wind. So I think we kind of started flaking ball in, and we weren't doing. But there was a lot of us lads could have been. We weren't going great. I didn't think, but we played really well now in the second half against the wind and played a bit. So yeah, like hurling can. It's funny. You can change. You could be 10 minutes away from being taken off, and then you could turn around, and things go for you. Just kind of stick at it.
You scored the ugliest penalty I've ever seen as well.
Yeah, it was the worst I've ever hit. I fell over. I actually was going. I love going one side, and then I was like, no, I'll change now. And then I saw the keeper, and he was kind of trying to get me to go to that side. So I picked it, and I just said, no, flick it the other way. But I actually fell when I went to hit it, and it went in, and I turned around. I didn't even see it go in. And I was like, oh my God, that was embarrassment. I was very relieved now it went in. But it wouldn't happen. I don't think I could do what I did again if I tried 100 times.
Yeah.
It went in.
Yeah. Peter Quigley was saying, I'd be interested to get your perspective that he kind of thinks, listen, the reason we hurl is to hurl on good ground and to hurl at the height of summer, and like we're dumped out of here in it's still May, and he said people, certain players are saying to him, God, a lot of sacrifices through the mud and the muck of winter and league, and that's all fine, but like you kind of want to play intercounty hurling when sun's on your back in June, and there's a kind of what's the point aspect from some lads. He didn't say how many. You get mixed things in the split season. A lot of players say they love it as well. Where are you on this? Dumped out before June in effect. Are you okay with it, or are you in the Peter Quigley camp or somewhere in between?
No, I like it.
Right.
Like, look, if you ask me, do you think we're in the top 8 in the country? I do. But we weren't good enough to get out of Munster. So what's to say we deserved it? Like, we didn't. There's 3 teams got out. We all knew that. Clare won, but like Clare won All Ireland last year, and now they're not out of the group. You get an injury or two, and you don't get out. It's very hard to get out. It is like, but that's on us. Like, I have no issue with it. I remember 2 years ago, the 2 brothers were in Australia, and I actually went over there for 5 weeks. Like, it was great. I think for the club, it's brilliant because they know when they're going, they can book holidays. The only thing I do is I change to having 2 weeks between. I might, I don't know, start earlier or push it out 3 weeks, 2 weeks, whatever, just to give 2 weeks between matches. I think some
Yeah.
teams having 2 weeks off. Some have three, even if you get the buy and and then some have 6 days. You know, I give 2 weeks between the championship matches, but like I actually like split season. I'd have no issue with it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I don't think like the weather was still lovely playing. Obviously, you'd like to be playing it now, but it's a competition. Like we didn't get out. If we want to play in June, we're going to have to just come out in the top three, and it'll all open up again. Because
Yeah.
what I was saying, we haven't played some of the Leinster teams in a few years now. But like 2020, like we played Galway, played Kilkenny. We used to play all them, and we had great games with them. So like if we want to start coming back at it again, you just need to get into the top three.
Yeah. 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 6 days not enough for your hips. At least give me 2 weeks for God's sake.
But not even about me. It's about
I
like
know. I know.
hurling
I
is
know.
fair for anyone. Like
No, it's a
there's
fair
no,
point, and the results correlate that way, don't they?
I haven't looked or I don't know, but like if you
Yeah.
any fella inter-county level, like say the match the other day, like you're hit 30, 40, 50 times, I don't know, in the match. Like the body's taking a few days if you're fit, if you're perfect, like it's taken a few. So I just think give a weekend off. If everyone had a weekend off, it's probably hard with the 5 teams, I know, but that's all I do. I'd make it 2 weeks short or 2 weeks longer on one side, and I start 2 weeks earlier or something. But
Yeah.
I actually have no real issues with the way it is.
Yeah.
Just make it a little bit longer.
That's very fair. Do you think the game is in good shape?
I do, yeah. I think it's excellent. I think it's as good as it's ever been. Like obviously, like things change. Like sure, we all remember Dan Shanahan and John Milan and all them that year, but like it was so different. Like Ken McGrath was one of my favorite players. But like if you did, it was you don't do that anymore. The game changed. Like so, obviously it was more exciting probably to watch that time. But like some of the games the last couple of years have been phenomenal. Like Limerick, like they're probably the first or second. They're probably the best team I've ever seen anyway. Or the Kilkenny teams. So like, I think it's brilliant. I think it's come back. Like the forwards are all going up. Like you see with Cork now, they're throwing three inside and they're hitting the ball long into the full forward line. You see Peter Duggan. He's actually coming on my stag in 2 weeks' time. Peter. He went in against Cork, the full forward in the first day, throw him in like the big man in the square again, throw the ball into him, and they get goals out of it. I think it changes every few years, and people kind of adapt. And no, I think it's excellent. Like I think some of the players that are playing now are as good as ever played.
Yeah. It's funny. There was a bit of talk about the Munster final. Thomas Welch, I think he's Waterford man actually.
Yeah.
And people loved it because he just let the game flow, and others felt 6 fouls in that first half. Like you gotta you gotta put manners on it. Where are you in the standard refereeing and getting that balance between taking those 40, 50 hits a game and letting it flow versus like Jesus, we gotta rein it in at times.
Yeah, like in fairness, it's the hardest thing to ever do. I don't know why anyone does it. Like I actually think Tyler is the best ref in Ireland. I think he's excellent. He does a lot
Right.
of club games. He's been doing it years. But I suppose like if you give loads of frees, they're going to give out about you for giving loads of frees and ruin the game. But then if you give no frees or very little frees, they're going to give out about the two or frees, three frees you didn't give. Like if you're letting it flow, you're leaving off loads of technical frees. So like you can't have it both ways. But I suppose they're way better when they're just not. Like I'd have no issue with just letting the thing go. They're way better to watch anyway. And even playing, if right, you're not getting the freeze here, but you can do a bit back, or
Yeah.
that you can hold and push again. But I suppose it's frustrating when you're getting like fouled or you're getting caught, and then you do something back and you're getting done for it. It's I think do one or the other, but like I think the way he did it was excellent. Obviously, there's going to be one or two calls, but like I think the standard refereeing is actually very good. I
Mm.
just an impossible job. Like in
Yeah.
fairness, how you're expecting one man to be facing the other way with the ball, but you want him to be seeing what's happening behind him inside. But like, it's impossible to do it, and people are always going to give out about the two things that suited their teams. But I think a lot of them even out over. Like I don't think any game has been caused like lost by a refereeing decision, or I think they go 50-50 overall. Like obviously sometimes you'd feel you can't blow for everything either. Like there'd be a
Yeah.
hundred frees in the game and ruin it. Like so, no,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
it's pretty good.
There's been talk of lads going down easier, borderline diving, creeping into the game. I don't know if that's like jumped off the page to me, like a few isolated incidents maybe. Are you noticing, you're kind of veteran status now. Are you sensing fellas going down easier, trying to get other lads in bother, or has that been overstated?
I think it's overstated, but like there is at times. I think the one problem is like you put out your arm to tackle a fella and you get him in the chest. But if you see what they're doing now, all they're doing is they're catching your arm and throwing their head back, and it looks like you're after. Like that's the one thing that'll probably annoy me is the kind of pretending that he's got you around the throat, like. And I think the refs do give it all the time. Do you know, it's just like you didn't try and hit him. You didn't. You're not even tackling him hard. You're just putting the arm to stop him, and then they're they're just being clever, like, you know, they're catching your arm, or they're throwing their neck back and kind of putting the arm underneath her as if you're like on the clothes hanging. But no, like I don't think it's a huge thing. Obviously, teams are like everyone tries to get the advantage and get the free. You know, there's fellas say a forward running and stopping and getting hit into the back, or like there's one or two things happen, and then everyone jumps on it. But I don't think it's a huge thing. Like I remember a few years ago, if you look, like there was a few lads with tip, like they were excellent at running out and throwing it back and winning frees, you know, and it lifts the crowd. Like, you don't blame fellas for doing it, but I suppose it's not nice to see. I wouldn't like to see it coming in, but I don't think it's an issue. Like, watch the other match the other night. Like, there was no,
No.
you know, they were very fair and good. You know, it was flake away and see who wins.
Yeah, there was one where Keane Lynch got dunted so hard in the back, it looked like he had whiplash, and he stayed up and just got another one for his trouble.
Yeah. But they're the great games. So, like, in fairness, I think like most inter-county players, you know, 99% of them are all very similar, and they're all there's respect for a lot of them. Like, you know, I've been on the Cork border here, and you'd know a few of them as well. And like they're excellent. Like Seamus Harndy's teaching over in Lismore in my school, and where I went to secondary school, saying like Niall O'Leary came to a camp I did out in Ballyhooly where I was teaching a few years ago, and like they're all very nice fellas, you know, and they all kind of, there's a mutual respect there as well, you know.
Yeah,
so I don't think
it's a small world, hurling, like, you know what I mean.
So you would have went to college with. I went to college in Limerick, like, so I'd have played with all the tip Limerick. It's funny, like a lot of them Limerick lads weren't even playing on that team back then. The team was so good. Like we had, I don't know, we had 24 fellas on a county panel playing Fitzgibbon, like Jason Ford, Tony Kelly, Dave McInerney, all the Limerick lads. There was about 6 of them, 7 of them. Like, it was unreal. So you meet them all, and then there'd be other lads down in UCC. But then you'd go down to your friends and you'd meet them, so you kind of know each other throughout the years, anyway. You know. Or, so yeah, no, they're all good in fairness.
Do you have a strong feeling on who's going to win the All Ireland?
I'm just watching as a spectator now, and you're like, I haven't put much thinking into it, but like, I would pick Limerick still. I think Limerick are the best team. That's obviously there's teams capable of beating them, but if you were to ask me who the best team in Ireland still are, is I'd put it to Limerick. Yeah.
What is it about them when you're on the pitch with them?
They play very well together. Like, it's not as if I'd say they've got 15 players that are just better hurlers than what you. They just play really well. They've good fellas in the right positions. Like, they play really deep. I was wing forward there, and like down in Welsh Park, which would be tight enough pitch. Next thing, Gerard Hagerty standing about 5 yards in front of me, and I'm here thinking, how am I getting the ball here when the half forwards, like, they play really deep. They play about 12 lads back, and then they're so good. Like, I think that's what they're better than everyone at, is giving ball under pressure, giving hand passes, giving little flicks, and then all they do is work around. If you have a sweeper, if you have a fella back covering, like, obviously you can't bring 12 on 12 one side and leave 3 on 3, so you keep a lad back, but they work it out so well. Then they just play to the corners into, Galan and the boys that are obviously exceptional. So if you stay, then they're just better, I think, at working around the ball, giving little passes. But yeah, it's hard. Like, they play really deep. They're obviously big, but they're very relaxed on the ball. Like, I remember the first ball there. Who was I on? Nash this year, and I ran across the field for a puck out, but he just stayed. He was like, you kind of respect how he doesn't care, like, that they do their job, and he was staying on the wing playing that side of the thing. And the ball actually got poked down straight to him. He got the ball. I don't know. He went up and someone's. Like, they really stick to what they've what's been working for them. Like, and they're obviously finding new players as well. I think. Like, I think they're actually nearly better again with the few lads that are coming up. So as I said, it's just we've lost to them more than anyone. I suppose we've been fairly 50-50 with all the other counties over the years. But I suppose Limerick are a team that we just struggle to beat. Sometimes got close, like lost by 2 points in championship there 2 years ago, and they're just an exceptional team. I think we lost them by 3 points in the Munster final, a couple of years ago. But no, I just have to respect them really and try and get as good as them.
Yeah, not really much you can do if Grouch Hegarty is standing 10 yards in front of you and you're trying to get the ball. By the way, that's like.
Yeah, you fell behind you, but I'm still sick over the flick he had. Do you remember the one he flicked up that was me. I didn't think he'd even try it, so I was
Oh,
like,
was it? Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I ran in, and next thing I was like, I went to block it because I said he's pulling here, and then he just flicked it, and I was like, why didn't I just go in and kick?
Mm.
Let it show me. But for look, that's the Déise. In fairness, to even try it in Munster Championship, it's unreal. So no fair play.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, interesting. And by the way, yeah, a last one on your kind of hurling and the level you managed to hit this year with everything going on. Like, is your because I remember talking to Richie Hogan and with his back, one of the things he missed is that like he couldn't just go out with a hurl and poke against a wall and get his touch sharp. You know, I read his autobiography recently, and even when he's in college and he's staying like in his house in from Condra renting, like the neighbors complain because he's poking a tennis ball against the wall all night. He before his back deserted him, he just
Yeah,
all hurl in hand, touch, sharpness, and he really missed that in later years. Can you go out now and get sharp, get your touch sharp with your hips? You're able to do that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I suppose one thing
that's a
I've
big
never
one for you,
really,
I'd say.
yeah, like I suppose we're playing every day since it helped having Kieran and Shane. So we were 10 months and 14 months between us. Ryan, we've another younger brother as well doing veterinary. He's about 22. He's actually back playing the club this year. He didn't play for a few years.
Right.
But we'd have grown up every single day playing like. So I think if you play it young, like you see with some kids down at 10, 12, they're not. They're touching and they're like, no, you need to be at it every day when you're younger. I think like primary school level. We had an old principal there, just hired Sean Pender, and like I think he had 12. When we played every single day, small break, big break, before school in primary school. It was mental. It was like a hurling academy. But like you had about 12 lads from the one primary school in Lismore played senior at Waterford from it, like.
Mm.
I think it's kind of gone a bit, like probably was a bit much. I think I played one game in sixth class. I went up playing soccer and got nearly killed for not being down the hurling field. But he was just exceptional to so many of us. So like I suppose when you have it, I find I would have never had an issue with my touch or hurling because I kind of had so much of it done.
Yes.
I wouldn't be outside pucking the ball afterwards. Some fellas need to be going to the wall ball 5 days a week to think their touch is in, but like I'd be confident enough taking a year out and still having to touch. You know what I mean? It was never. I was kind of relaxed. I think that's why the hurling, like you start playing better as well, is when you stop thinking about that kind of stuff. I
Yes.
just focus on if I can run, if I can play on the field that day, like the hurling will be fine. So no, I never really struggled, or never thought I had an issue with it as such.
Yeah, very good. It's funny so you seem young to me to be a principal, but then maybe they were all young and we just thought they were old. There's probably a bit of that going on. Um, I remember speaking to you probably 4 years ago or so, and you just kind of qualified as a teacher. And it was very interesting because obviously a lot of intercounty players become teachers because it works well with the championship, although less so now given the split season. But you were sort of saying, no, 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 that's not this for me. I always wanted to be a teacher. I did Irish grinds,
Yeah,
knowing I mightn't get the points, did a business degree, but knew I'd come in through the Hibernia route, knew I'd get there, really wanted to do it, not doing it for hurling. Like I'll be doing this 30, 40 years after I stop hurling. And I thought that was really, great to have such a clear-eyed view of what you want to do. So 4 or 5 years into it now, has it been what you hoped it would be working with young people?
yeah. Like it actually kind of gets annoying that sometimes they'll be saying, "Oh, sure, male there said playing JS, so he wants to be a teacher." And they're like, some of them could actually want to be teachers. Yeah, just always had an interest in coaching kids and did years of cool camps. And I do my own camps now, kind of not GA camps, or kind of in community fields and just sports camps and kind of fun camps with over the summers and all. Did an Easter one. Like, yeah, I just loved it. So I always wanted to do since what was I, 17 doing the leaving starts. As I said, I got the grinds because I knew I wouldn't get the points, but I'd eventually go back. Well, I'd go straight away. I'd go back at Hibernia. So did business, worked in Striker, worked in Bosch Lamb for a while, and placements in Waterford. And then after about 6 months, I said, no, I still want to do it before you start working, like you got a permanent job. So I went back and did a job. It was the best thing I did. Yeah, this job kind of came up. It was earlier than expected, I suppose. I didn't really think about it. It came up. It's about 10 minutes from where I will be living in Cork. There, it's Parish Castlelines, small school. So yeah, it's new. It's a challenge actually. It's different. It's so
Yeah.
different from. I just my fifth year out. So the principal of this school actually went to my school, an admin principal. And then I was like, gee, I might do that. And sure, in 10 years' time, I might get it, I might come up again or whatever.
Mm.
And just got it then. I was relaxed, I suppose, doing the interview and all. And yeah, it's going well. Like, it's different, challenging, but the kids are unreal here. bar when you lose to Cork on a Monday morning. Stuff, they're all inside in their Cork jerseys, but I enjoy that too. You kind of have to get over yourself, and
Yeah.
we've, as I said, hanging the bunting out for him, and you get a bit of a laugh at him too. But
Yeah.
I'd have a huge interest in just, I don't know, kids have it harder than we did now because they've phones and there's just too much. So we had none of it. Like, it's not as if we're ancient, like, but I'm like, we were just outside. Now they've just a lot more to kind of, they get a hard old thing too that they're, but I think they're unreal and you can help them so much. Like, little things, you see the kids improving them, like a sport or school or whatever, like whatever they're doing, music. We're actually growing vegetables now. We've a polytunnel gotten. We're selling vegetables to the parents, and I'm learning away myself too with them. Like, you can have a laugh at them. I think if you just kind of show them that, be positive, like, with everything, and they'll be much better. There's, they've enough to be dealing with.
Honestly, I wanted to be a teacher for a long time. It just strikes me as like just a beautiful way to spend your life, around young people. And there is nothing better, I suspect. You get to do it in pockets in your own life, but as a teacher to watch a young person develop, their confidence grow, get better at something, nurture them. Like it's beautiful. Probably a hard thing to articulate, but like it's an amazing kind of thing to experience.
Yeah, like I don't know, would I be suited for secondary teaching? I actually was always just younger kids,
Right.
which are like, you're so caught up and selfish in your own thing and your sport, and you're in bad form there on a Monday because you lost the championship match, and then you go into a 7-year-old and they don't care, like,
Yeah.
and they're like, they saw you on the telly, and sure they think it's the best thing ever. They haven't a clue. Do they wouldn't even know who's playing. So it's great. Like, you can be really positive to them. Like, I love, like I just said, it sounds, I don't know what way it sounds, but it's just to see the kids coming into school happy, like, and you'd notice by some, I'd always try and see the ones that aren't into sport and like, right, how am I going to get around these? And show them that, like, you can do anything, like, be good at music, be good at something, just put effort into anything, I suppose, not just, oh, it's hard now, I'll stop and change this, like, and kind of, I think when you talk to them, like, I'd be telling them, sure, I didn't get teaching the first time. Sure, who cares? Like, I think they all think I need to be getting 10 out of 10. And they're like, no, you don't. Like, you need to be, try and be average. And then if you work harder, you'll be better than average. Just show them that. I think when they think that, they're not getting good results or they're not getting this, like, it doesn't actually matter. Like, show them your results. Sure, God, my mother, I'd say she's surprised at half of us how we turned out. So, like, I suppose sometimes school is kind of, oh my God, what results are they getting in their maths? And they're like, who cares? Like, they're 9. Can they talk to people? And are they happy?
Yes.
Are they going outside? And, I just think there's so much more. And then when the kids are happy, parents are happy. Like, sure, how many parents, all they want is the kids to be getting up in the morning and going home happy out. Like, I just think it is positive. Sure, they're always in good form. Like, you can't be ratty with them. So even if you go into school ratty, you can't take it out on the 10-year-old. It's not their fault. You lost the tip, like, So it's like you soften a little bit, quicker, like.
Yeah, I find the phones thing just frightening. Like, geez, I'm addicted to my own. Like, what chance a 10, 11-year-old has with kind of unbridled access to the internet is just a scary thought.
Oh, it is. I'm telling, like, that's the one thing I think is, like, and computers or gaming or, some kids and they're playing 5-6 hours online and they're just like, will you just go outside and climb the wall out the back or climb a tree or play anything? I'm like, just keep them involved in, like, literally anything that's involved in, like, talking to people,
Yes.
I think it's so, but it's easy for us to say it, like, oh, they're all playing the games, but sure, like, it's not their fault either. They weren't there. We'd have probably done the same if we had them,
Well, playing the game's a lot more fun than climbing a tree.
Yeah, like, exactly. But I suppose you're not, it's nearly now, it's like, oh, they can't be bored. So, like, get an iPad there and watch, but, like, so we were all bored. Like, there's nothing wrong with being bored. Find things to do, like, or go. I just think it makes, you'd see the kids that don't spend all their time on it, and they're just they've so much more chances, I suppose. I think personally, So, like, look, what am I to know? But I just think trying to limit it is just huge. I think they've too much, like, access to just anything they want. When they don't need to. Like, they're too innocent. They're too young. They don't need to be. They don't need them. Like, they don't need phone until they're older.
I was talking to I won't say his name, but somebody who was being interviewed with us recently, and he was saying his kid now is in 5th, going into 6th class, and the school were trying to get all the parents in the class to sign up to no phones.
Yeah,
we'll just say, like, it's a not until secondary school kind of a thing. And I think of the class of 28, 25 of the parents signed up to it, but then there's three of them going around with phones, and obviously everyone else is like heads in the phones, and you're just, I do think in 20 years, or maybe even sooner, people will be looking back on, what do you mean you gave a 10-year-old a phone? Like, what were you thinking?
Yeah, 100%. Like, sure, you think like back to when your own parents were telling you you can't do this and you can't do that, and you think sure they're horrible, but they weren't. Like, I think just be a little bit tougher with them and leave them be bored, leave them, just because our friends have it. I think in the long run, it makes such a difference to just their own heads, like their own, just being happy. Like you'd see the kids that are outside, sure, scientifically, like it's not rocket science either. But sometimes you'd always see the kids and they're watching films. I don't mind, obviously, we watch telly and I'm on
Yeah,
my
yeah, yeah.
like, I just mean not for hours. Some people come in saying, I'm tired. And like, why? You're like, I was playing video games there from 6 to 12 last night. And they're like 10. I'm like, really? Yeah, that's good for you. And now
Right.
you're feeling anxious this morning and you're feeling sad or you're feeling worried. And I'm like, yeah, sure, of course you are. Like, just, get outside and run or play something or play music, or I can't play music now, but I just mean do anything,
Yeah.
that involves talking to people. Because you'd see the kids, like, they could be getting poor results in their English or their maths or something, but you're like, you're going to run a business. You'd know by them the way they can, there's so much more you can work on. And then when the kids start feeling, geez, I'm good at this, they'll get, they'll, a little bit of encouragement with children, like, they think it's the best thing ever,
Yeah.
So just to kind of keep going with that.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Listen, thank you so much for your time. I know you're busy. Until next week when you're not. So enjoy golf, enjoy your stag, enjoy the wedding, enjoy all of that. Have a great year. And we might see you spending a bit more of that credit in the bank in 2026, maybe, perhaps.
Let's see. We'll see. I'm clearing up. I won't think about it a while.
Okay, very good. Well, listen, fair play. A lot of great performances and not easily done either. So Stephen Bennett of Waterford. Thanks a million, Stephen. Cheers.
No matter. Thanks, man.